Good morning. So here we are, another Wednesday, middle of the week, hump day. I feel like a little frazzled. I probably am a little bit. So I decided to start working out again for like the billionth time in my life. And I'm probably going to brush and get ready because I realized how badly my hair was standing up. But decided to start working out again. And of course today is the day where everything decides that it's going to be a frustrating day. So one thing, if you have cats, you understand. You have to clean the litter box fairly regularly because unlike most other animals, cats are very, very, very particular about how they eat, what kind of food they eat, where they pee, what it smells like. And so you kind of have to maintain a certain level of cleanliness and consistency with them. So I try to feed my cats 12 hours apart, 9 a.m., 9 p.m. So it'll be right before we go to bed and right around when I get up. So that way, mostly for the weekend, so I start getting up when my husband gets up, which is like around 5:30ish. And I don't feed them till 9 because that means on the weekends, I don't have to get up at like 5:30 or 6 o'clock to feed them. I can get up at 9. So feed them on a fairly consistent schedule that doesn't stop them from crying at about 8 o'clock because they're like, food time's coming up. You're going to have to feed us. No, I don't, but I choose to. So try to keep them on a fairly consistent feeding schedule. Try to clean their litter box regularly, which I try to do about twice a week, but I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of in an out of the way place in the house, so I will forget occasionally. But it gets cleaned at least once a week. I try to do twice a week. So this morning I said, you know what, I was supposed to do it yesterday, I forgot to do it yesterday, I'll do it today. Got up, the way we clean the litter box, because we live like in a neighborhood, you can't really just throw it on the edges because people will complain about the smell and whatever. So what we'll do is we'll get some of the HEB bags. We will get the scooper. I usually like to use gloves because for whatever reason, and I'm like 99% sure it's Marble, likes to pee in a corner of the litter box. They've got two. They've got two separate litter boxes in Rubbermaid bins with a cat door to keep kind of the smell in so they can feel a little bit cleaner in their space and we don't have to smell their space. But they have two litter boxes, yet for some reason they prefer to pee in one and poop in the other. Doesn't really bother me except for the fact that I'm pretty sure Marble likes to pee in one corner and only likes to pee in that corner to the point where when you clean her litter box, there's some small clumps, which if you've ever cleaned out a cat's litter box, they're like little balls, essentially like this big, and of just like pee clumps, because the litter clumps together, holds it together, you scoop it out, you shake off the excess, and you just throw a little ball in there. That's Blue, because I've been cleaning Blue's litter box longer than I've been cleaning Marble's litter box, but when we got Marble, she seems to like to pee in the same spot, so instead of being like a little pee clump that's manageable with the scoop, you have an entire corner of this litter box, like in a solid pee block, that you just have to, like, gloves, pick up the clump that's like literally this big, like huge, and then put it in the bag. I'm just glad her poop's solid because, you know, that used to be a problem too, and it's not anymore. So scoop over everything else, manhandle the big pea clump, and you have to be careful because if you break it right in the middle, it's just all downhill from there because it doesn't hold together very well. Clean up their litter boxes. So the reason for the bag is we tie it up a little bit Diaper Genie style, throw it in the trash bag. It doesn't smell. It kind of keeps the smell in there, and if we're like not quite ready to take the trash out, it's not the end of the world. Anyway, so this morning, gotta do it. Get all my stuff, get all worked up to get it. Open the litter boxes because they open from the top to go in and scoop them. Evidently Marble decided right in that moment it was time to pee. Happens. I'm sure it's the same thing with kids. Like when you're all ready to go, everybody's strapped in the car and we're going to pull out of the driveway, somebody's got to pee. This cat decides it's time to pee when I have both litter boxes open and scooping. Fine, I'll step back and let her pee in the litter box. However, I did not find out because she was trying to get into the litter box to pee. She walked up right up next to the litter box, got on top of Blue's carrier, and started peeing and looked up at me and stared at me while she's peeing. I scold her, of course, because she's not supposed to be peeing on this, and I thought we'd gotten past this, because she used to have a problem with just like peeing and pooping in random cardboard boxes, whether or not they were empty, to the point where our guest room smelled awful because we couldn't find what the smell was coming from until we realized she started doing that. That's an entirely different story that completely pissed the both of us off, but we got past it, and Marble's still alive. I promise. She might be the lump under the bed right now. Scold her. My husband's just, texting him what just happened, and he says, oh, please don't worry about it. She's probably, because when the cats came back from my parents' house, evidently one of them was a little nervous and peed in her carrier, which is fine. They have like mats in there for that purpose, that if it happens, you can take it out and you can wash it. It's not that big a deal. Evidently, between the two of us, who was going to handle it hadn't quite gotten handled yet, so we're pretty sure that she was just upset that it smelled. And so I was like, you know what? Fine, I get it. Granted, we can't smell anything, maybe they can. So, I'm already upset at this point, but I said, you know what? Fine, it's fine. Finish cleaning up the litter boxes, put everything back the way it was, throw the litter, take the gloves off, go get all of the Clorox wipes, grab both carriers, just in case, and throw them in the washer, get that started. Come back, turn around to kind of size up the mess, how many, if I need napkins or what, to find Marble playing in her pee. Yeah. Not my happiest moment. So now I'm pretty upset. Marble's played in her pee, that she peed outside the litter box. Just hold on to her, clean up the mess as best I can, leave her in the room and close the door, and I just, because I don't want her to start running around getting on things and peeing in random places. And so I go, I scout the house, everything seems fine. Take Blue outside because they love, for whatever reason, our cats like going outside and walking on their own-ish. We have them in harnesses and we clip their leads and we let them walk outside in the backyard. Marble doesn't get that today because she was a very bad kitty by playing in pee. So I get her wipes because we have separate cat wipes, wipe down her paws, and evidently that's just what today's going to be like. Yeah. So the reason I'm talking about this is because sometimes as fur parents, if you want to call it, or pet owners, we can feel like we're a little bit alone and we have no one to talk to, because a lot of the times we will love our pets as family, as our children, and sometimes they are our first children, and it's really difficult sometimes to talk about them when people have this idea that, well, they're just animals. Oh, why don't you just get rid of it? Why don't you just do that? And people who don't always get it. I am not going to get rid of Marble, although I threaten her with that all the time. My husband just says, you know that you're not going to get rid of her. She's your cuddle monster, and she really is. But you're not alone when you feel that way, or when you feel frustrated, or when you're like trying to figure out how to fix this, because we've been trying lots of ways to teach Marble. When we got Blue, we got her when she was maybe a month old, was like the oldest they thought she could possibly be. They were pretty sure that she was a little bit younger. So we've had her since she was practically born, and we were able to teach her and train her to different things. For example, if you are playing with Blue and she kind of gets a little feisty and into it, she will look like she's going to bite you. However, When she was little, she would also do this when she got overexcited, and we taught her that biting was not okay. So one of the easiest ways to do that with cats, and it doesn't sound the best, but it works and it doesn't hurt them, is we would, if she tried to bite our hand, we would put our finger in her mouth so that she knew it wasn't okay. And we wouldn't do it with everything, like if she was playing with her toys or if she was eating something or, she accidentally bit us for some reason, it was okay. But if she was playing aggressively, we would put her finger in her mouth and she would just react like she didn't like it. It didn't hurt her, but she learned, okay, this is not okay. And we only had to do it a couple of times, and she learned pretty quickly that was not something that was going to be okay. And so now when she plays, when she goes to bite you, she'll kind of get really close, maybe put her teeth on you, and then let go. And then look at you like, I could have bit you, but it didn't. Because she's a drama queen that way. Wonder where she gets that from. So we got to train her that way. We also trained her a lot of words like no. She knows what her name is for the most part. She understands the word food, can, mostly because can is her favorite form of food, and it's different from the dry food. And if you say it too many times, I might summon the cat. My husband can whistle like a bird. I don't know how to do that, but he used to do it all the time when they were getting fed, and they learned that was food. And I'm going to have to go deal with that in a minute. I really hope it wasn't a cat. But we got to train her when she was really little. And so we got to teach all of these little things that we didn't quite get with Marble. So we got Marble when she was several months old. So she was probably close to 6 months when we got her. So she'd already kind of gone through that age where we'd been training Blue. So we are having a harder time training her because she's already learned certain habits from being in a shelter, which makes it more difficult for us in the long run. So Blue was litter box trained because she still needed help using the restroom on her own, and if you've ever had newborn kittens, you understand Mom usually goes in there with them and will stimulate them to get them to go. Really, she just licks their butts until they start to pee and poop. So Miles was terrible at it. I would go in there with one of their cat wipes and essentially wipe her butt like a cat licking her butt, and she would use the restroom. And I would always do it when she was in a litter box, so she knew very clearly that that's the only place she would ever go. And to this day, even if she can't quite, she was still figuring out the litter box when we changed it on them and we gave them time to adjust, she still figured out and only ever used that restroom. Whereas Marble said, I don't know where my litter box is, freaked out, jumped into one of my plants and peed in it. Jumped into cardboard boxes and pillows and things that were left out in that first couple of weeks that we freaked out and we were like, what is happening? We'd never had this problem before. And Blue seemed to have adjusted just fine, and it was new to her too. It wasn't something that had changed suddenly that she'd already adjusted to and then Marble had to adjust to it. They were adjusting in the same period, but Marble hadn't quite been trained the same way that we'd trained Blue, so she kind of feels like she can get away with more things or that the roles are different for her. So we've had a harder time training her to do things the way Blue does. And it's frustrating, but also a little bit fun to figure out how to get things to work. It's frustrating because I really don't like cleaning up pee first thing in the morning on the floor. This is part of the reason why I'm not rushing having kids. And playing where is that smell coming from, figuring out when things go crash like that. For whatever reason, Marble decided that getting on the countertops was okay, whereas Blue's never tried that, and if she did, it was when she was really, really little and learned really quickly that wasn't okay. We can smack Marble when she's on the countertops. We can spray her with water. We can do just about everything in the book, and she will still get up there. So we're still trying to figure out what works for her, because we are trying everything. So if you have any similar experiences and you've learned training methods, please let me know in the comments, because I would really love to try them. But I wanted to share this with all of you in case you were in the same boat, or if you just kind of wanted to, or you were having difficult moments and you wanted to vibe with somebody that, it's not just you. It's not just you. Cats are weird. And I'm sure dogs have their own thing, and that's a whole nother adventure that we'll eventually get on. But, yeah. Teaching cats and training cats and having cats is very interesting. And it's still funny to me that she likes it on her terms. So she will come up and sit on you, and not usually on your lap. She'll like try to climb up like right here on your chest and then wait to be petted. And if she's not being petted, she'll start to like butt her head against your hand or your arm or whatever to try to get some pets going. And then when she's done, she'll usually reach up upon and be like, and that was enough. And if you still try to like reach to her, she'll put her paw on your hand and go, no, that's enough. So they have their own unique personalities, and they're surprisingly similar to just about any other pet you can have, such like dogs and rabbits and so on, that, you know, they want to be pet and loved and given attention and have treats and still need to be trained, and a lot of the similar things will work, but you really just have to figure out what works for your cat. Now I have to end this a little bit early, mostly because that was really concerning and I gotta go figure out if anything broke. Another day in the life of a fur parent. Thanks for listening.